Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over two different products that I've been using for recovery. One of them is the TimTam pulse massager, and the other is the TENS unit that got prescribed to me after my shoulder surgery. Alright, so for starters I'm going to go over the TimTam pulse massager unit. So this is the box that it comes in when you get it. Modern recovery for all. These run about $150 off of the TimTam Tech website. It says here that it's the pulse massager, but this is the box it comes in. So nice presentation, nice box. Tells you a little bit about it. So what comes in the box? It's got the pulse massager, two of the butterfly pads, which are the smaller pads, and a USB charging cable. So this slips off. So professional recovery for serious athletes. Nice box, nice presentation again. It's got a magnetic opening. Flip it open, and you've got the TimTam unit, as well as underneath you'll have the cables and the butterfly pads. So here's the butterfly pad. This one's actually open, and I'm just going to go over how to basically set this thing up. So the first step is you take this TimTam unit and you can charge it. There's a small USB adapter right here, and you can charge that unit and then take one of the butterfly pads out of its packaging. Now the butterfly pads, they come with a plastic sheet on the back side of the packaging. This is to make it easier for you to store it. I have been using this single pad for a long time, and I'm going to go over in the video how to make these things last because they are a little bit expensive. And I misplaced, and by misplaced I mean my daughter threw away the plastic sheet while I was using it. So life being life, we're just going to press. So there's two little buttons on the back side, and there are two buttons on the pads. So what we're going to do is we're just going to line those up, and they just push in. You'll hear them snap. The next step is to prep whatever area that you're planning on doing for that day. Now that comes down to prep longevity. So your skin's naturally going to produce some oils. It's naturally going to produce things that are going to make this pad degrade kind of quickly. Now I'm a father of two, and one of the things that I have found that works the best for making that pad last for as long as possible are these Pampers sensitive wipes. Wipe down the area that you're going to be applying this pad, and I'd recommend when you're wiping it down, go a little bit past where you think you might actually end up applying the pad. Keep in mind that it's not that large of a pad, but it's better to have more area prep than less area. And then just throw that away. Now you're going to want to let this dry a little bit, and while we let it dry, what we're going to do is we're going to power up the TimTam unit. So what you're going to do is hit this little button in the middle with the T, push that button, and it's going to start to pulse blue. That pulse blue, if you can see it, that pulse blue is an indication that it's powered on. So after it's pulsing blue, you're going to want to pull your smartphone up. That is something to note about this, is you do need to have a smartphone in order to actually make this work. So you're going to end up downloading the TimTam app. Get that on the App Store. It is available for Android and for iPhone. I have not had the opportunity to test the Android version of this. I only have an iPhone. Basically open that up, and you're going to connect a TimTam Plus by hitting that red button. It's going to pop up in the top, and it's got a check mark indicating that it's connected. And then it's going to have you select your treatment area. There's a couple different treatment areas that you can do, and it's sorted by front of the body, side of the body, and back of the body. So on the front of the body, you have your abdominals, you have like your knee area, you have a calf area, and you have a quad area. On the side, you have shoulder, elbow, buttocks, and your carpal tunnel or wrist area. And on the back, you have across the back upper, across the back lower, another one on the glutes, and another one on your calf. I guess the other one's actually, this is on your shin, not on your calf. I misspoke about the front. So again, I'm going to use this on my shoulder today, but it has all these different treatment areas. Now I can't actually speak to whether all those treatment areas work differently or if they're actually effective at working differently. I don't know these things. I have tried it on other parts of my body just to see, and I haven't noticed that big of a difference. between the different programs. So we're just going to select shoulder, and we're going to see, gotta wait for the airplanes. So I'm going to select shoulder, and you can see here that we have warm up, scrape, deep tissue, cupping, recovery, or needle. One of my favorites that I've been doing is scrape, although I do use warm up and recovery. The rest of them, I mean, really all that it is different patterns and signals that this thing's going to send to your tissue. So I'm going to do scrape this time, and as you can see, you can vary your time all the way from 1 to 30 minutes. We're just going to set it to 10. That's what it defaults to anyways. And all you got to do is just hold down that little dot and move it. And then intensity 1 to 15. I've been finding that for my shoulder areas, I can start at about a 10 and then adjust up and down depending on how that area is feeling. Now don't hit play yet because you have to apply the unit. So remove it from the plastic backing and set this aside. This is what the back side of it looks like here. It is kind of a glossy. It has some slight tack to it. Now I've used this pad probably more than 50 times, and it says to replace these more often than that, but what I found is by using these baby wipes, again, right before you actually apply the unit, it makes it stick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a modified shoulder. So what I've been finding with my shoulder repair is that if I apply the unit stretching from my shoulder into my pec a little bit, that it works pretty well. So this is one of the nice parts about this thing is you can just throw it on and you just kind of like set it and forget it. It sticks pretty decent. These corners will, and again, this is a very used pad, these corners will eventually start to come up a little, but it works pretty darn good. Just hit the play button, and it's going to start going through its thing. Now, I can feel it. Now, level 10 this time feels a little bit weak, so I'm going to bump it up just a little bit, and you can see that you get a countdown timer, as well as like your indication on intensity level. Something to note is that you can adjust your time in real time, and it'll adjust, you can see in the timer, it'll adjust to whatever you set it to. So I'm going to set it to 2 minutes when we finish up this video, and you can close this. So once that's done, you can take your phone, you can walk away from it, it doesn't need the Bluetooth connectivity anymore, and you're just done. And you can see that this thing's actually firing up to a point where it is pulling my shoulder with no issues. So I just got a phone call as well. I just ignored it, but I just got a phone call just to note it does not interrupt this cycle, which is nice. So you do need a phone for this, but it doesn't actually require all that much. While this is going on, I'm just going to talk about some of the things I really like about the TimTam. One, it's really nice having no wires anywhere. It's really nice to have this. It sticks pretty well, and even if it doesn't stick well, if you find that it's starting to come up, you can just press it back down, and if you clean the area, it's going to stick back down. And you can do other things while you're doing your recovery or while you're doing your warm-up. I like how small it is. I mean, it looks kind of cool, I guess. It's got a little flash of blue light. If you hit this blue button in the middle, while you're going through your cycle, it will power down. Just something to note, I have a 2-year-old, and earlier I was doing a recovery cycle on this, and my 2-year-old walked over and pushed the button and it turned it off. Just something to note. For you guys at home, if you like lean against it on a chair, which I've done, and you hit the button, it will turn this off and you'll have to get into a different position to let it go. Some of the things I don't like about it, I really don't like things that require a phone. The reason I don't like it is because I don't really like carrying my phone around or being on my phone or being glued to my phone. And it also brings the unit price up from $150 to technically $150 plus whatever your phone costs. Now once it finishes with its cycle, which it just did for me, it's automatically going to turn off, which is kind of cool to know because all you have to do at this point is just take it off. It doesn't leave any residue on the skin. There's nothing there. Take that plastic backing that comes in the package. Now I just use the package because again I lost my plastic backing. Stick it on there. Make sure that there's no hair, like if you have dogs or something, make sure there's no hair on the packaging, and that's how you store it. Little TimTam button, it's not exactly small, and it's also easy to push, so if you just throw this in your bag with nothing around it, no case, there's a high likelihood that something is going to push the button and it's going to start the unit up. The battery does last a very, very long time. I couldn't tell you a good interval on it because I honestly can't remember, but I've never had it die on me. I've always just plugged it in out of curiosity to see if it needed to charge. Alright, so now the second thing I wanted to show you guys was, this is just a Precision EMS TENS unit. Now this is a basic unit. This is basic TENS, nothing fancy. It's got wires. Something that you would normally get if you had like shoulder surgery in your physical therapy or your surgeon wants you to do TENS. This is what you're probably going to end up getting prescribed. Now you can jump on TENS Pro's website or TENS Products. This one is a TENS Products brand, but what I found is that the TENS Pro's website was a little bit better for buying replacement pads and such, and they'll be linked down below. But this is the case it comes in, which is kind of nice, if I'm being honest. I really like having the case. It's plastic, it takes care of stuff, plus you can keep your lead wires as well as a spare battery in this unit. Alright, so the unit itself is fairly simple in design. Basically on the top you have two of these little rotary dials. This is very analog compared to what most people would probably end up using. So you have these two rotary dials that go from 0 all the way up to 8, and you have a plug per channel. Those plugs are what's going to determine which side. So you can do two different areas at the same time. Now when you open it up, you have two different rotary dials, one for contraction, one for the relaxation, and these are just cycle timers. So if you do like a 30-second on, 10-second off, and as you can see, those are very adjustable by just turning this little dial. They do not click into place either, so you can do like parts of a second if you really feel like it. The frequency is adjustable between 100, 30, and 5 hertz, and the ramp time is basically the amount of time it takes to ramp from 0 power all the way up to whatever you have it set to. Generally speaking, once you adjust this area, you don't really need to get into it that much because this doesn't do cycles. There's no like on and off pulsing. There's no different types. Now with the TimTam, you're going to get kind of a mix. So it'll do like a little bit of 100, a little bit of 30, a little bit of 5, all in one cycle. So it feels fancier, but in reality, I don't really think there's that much of a difference. I'm sure there is a small difference, otherwise there wouldn't be a market for these products, but I just don't think it's that big of a difference. So all you need to do to make this unit work is plug in your lead wires, which are here. There's a plug end. This plug end just goes straight in. On the other end are two electrode cables. So I like to plug in both channels, then I just throw this on my belt and just use the plugs. I'm opening up a brand new set of pads. Now here's one of the advantages. The butterfly pads on the TimTam unit are significantly more expensive. I don't have a dollar figure off the top of my head. I do know that if you subscribe, or prescribe, or you get a subscription box, basically you can subscribe to the pads, and when you do that, I think it drops the price by like 50%. And the pads do last a long time, but they are still more expensive. These pads run about $1 a piece, depending on which version you get. This is the 2x2 cloth backed, and these ones are actually, foam backed, and these ones are pretty nice. These are from TENS Pros. I buy these in bulk, like I'll buy like 20 at a time. I'll wait till they're having a sale, just kind of stock up. So open up a brand new one, and this is what you're getting. Is basically wires. So this is one of the disadvantages. So I'm going to plug in my lead wire. So basically channel A and channel B are both going to have a red and a black. And then you take these pads and you're going to stick them. And again, make sure you clean the area first. And you're just going to stick them. So I'm going to put one here, kind of the same area I was doing before with the TimTam unit. One up here. And what I'm going to do for this one is now, with the TimTam, this is the only area that you could technically select to do at one time. This one, although more analog, a lot more basic, and only costing like 50 bucks, 30, 40 bucks, you can do two different areas at once. So I'm going to do my shoulder as well as, I don't know, let's do my bicep. So again, for channel B, plug in your wires, and I'm going to go from basically here, and I'm just going to wrap it around the bicep. With a little bit of creativity and experience, a little bit of experimentation, you'll figure out the areas that are most beneficial to you. Then all you got to do to power it on is literally adjust little rotary dials on the top. Those turn. I would recommend starting low. And there's no timer for this, and all you got to do at this point is just take this, throw it on your pants or on your belt, throw it somewhere, and you're done. Now you can go and you can kind of work depending on what's going on. Now as you can see, it is pulsing through. You're just gonna have to like start a timer of some sort, so like take a time hack on your watch. If you want to use your phone, because you just got to use your phone, use a phone timer. But you can walk around, do your own thing. Now some things you have to be careful of. One, the wires, they are going to end up hanging, which is kind of a disadvantage. You don't really notice them after you've used it for a while and you get used to having the wires there. But you do have wires, something to be careful of. If you get this snagged on something and you pull one of the pads off, when you go to re-grab that pad and stick it back on, you're basically completing the circuit between like your hand and wherever the pad is at, so it's going to shock you. So make sure that you clean the area, get a really good application before you actually start working. But other than that, like I really like these small TENS units. If you were to take the same amount of money that you would spend on a TimTam unit and spend it on one of these corded TENS units, you can buy one of the nicer TENS units that actually does cycling and programming. I'll include an example of that down in the description below. You can click on that and check it out. In order to power this one down, so let's say that like my timer is expired. So now I'm just going to power this guy down. So I'm going to take this little door, open it up, turn my rotary dial to 0 on each one, close that back up. You can pull the wires out, put this away. Just as a quick note, to replace the battery on this thing, all you have to do is just pull the door completely off and the battery pops right off. So now I kept my packaging right here. All you gotta do is just take these off, put them back on the plastic sheet. And again, if you use the baby wipes like I just showed you guys, you're gonna make these last a really long time. These like $2, $1 pads will last. When I say weeks, using them every day, I'm not exaggerating when I say it. And then disconnect all of the lead wires. Take your lead wires, wind them up. One of the nice parts about this case is that with or without the foil bag, you can just stick your electrodes right in the case. And so now you can take this case, throw it in your gym bag. It's pretty small. There's no way that you're going to turn this on accidentally and lose all your battery power. And even if you do, if you're smart, you'll throw an extra 9-volt battery in here. All right, so that's been the normal TENS unit versus a TimTam pulse massager. So I do like the TimTam pulse massager. These are really nice. They're very convenient. Almost everybody has a smartphone. I've never had any issues with the app. It has multiple different cycles. It has automatic timers. It has a rechargeable battery. So technically a smaller unit, better unit. I would say that in the world of recovery, that $150 spent on this is $150, decently well spent if you have that kind of money to spend. Now, if you are going to buy a TENS unit, you just want to buy the basic, like the minimum thing that you need to get into buying a TENS unit, I would highly recommend these units here. I find that I tend to use this one a little bit more because I'm able to stretch across farther parts of my body. I'm able to do 2 different targeted areas at the same time versus the TimTam, which can only do one area. They do sell XL pads for these, but those are the 2 different types of units that I've reviewed for this. Again, you can buy fancier TENS units like these, and they have programs built in, they have different intensities, different frequencies. I mean, tell me what you guys think down below. Would you rather have a wireless massager that you can put on and it's just going to do its own thing after you set it up with your phone, or would you rather have more of an analog control? I think they're both really good buys. I personally think that this is a little bit more of a value buy, especially since the pads are so inexpensive. You don't need to subscribe to get any sort of special deals. Plus, they're non-proprietary. The TENS Pros, TENS products, all the TENS stuff, it all uses almost the exact same probe, no matter which brand that you buy. So that's been my review of these two different units. Again, I prefer this. Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. I appreciate you guys watching this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already and watch some of the other videos that I produced. And remember, when it comes to garage gym equipment, always be looking for something better, something awesome, and something badass.